Hey, how are you guys? Welcome to our first episode of the Something Podcast. I'm here with our other host, call me Caden.
Hey, you already know what it is.
And today we are going to be talking about George Floyd and all the protests that are going around so far.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy.
what's your opinion on it first?
All right, I gotta say, it is very much a big shame that he died. Shouldn't have happened. The guy who killed him, I hope he rots in jail. Um, um, you know, I've heard he's being put into a maximum security prison. He was held in a jail a
Yeah.
while before getting actually sentenced to an actual prison. And I've also heard that they've also either mixed up somebody that looks like him and put him in like. So I heard he didn't actually go to a prison. I heard that someone that looks like him went to prison, and um, the real guy out there is still out there.
We're talking about the cop, right?
Yeah, the cop.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, it was a shame that happened. Like, he had his knee on his neck for 8.5 minutes. Like, that's not something you accidentally do. And
Yeah, not at all.
2.5 of that was when he was unresponsive, knocked out conscious.
Right,
And
right.
all he did was give a fake $20 bill, which we don't even know if he knew it was fake. Someone could have given it to him and he might have not known.
Even if it was just a $20 bill, it's not as big of a bill as it like a 50 or 100. And even if it was one of those higher ones, it still shouldn't have happened.
I know, like, at the most, he probably would have gotten a fine or something. I mean, I don't know about like law enforcement and how judges do things, but I mean, from my experience, I don't think you can really go to jail for giving like fake money. We don't, and even if he might have not known that was fake,
Right, right, right.
could have been an honest mistake.
I found a map of riots around the U.S. and I don't remember where I saw it, but it was multiple states: Minnesota, Texas, L.A. L.A.'s not a state, but I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
New York, Boston.
Do you remember which place had the most, or did they all have around equal?
I don't remember what it said.
I'm wondering if there's any deaths that happened in those riots, because I know a lot of them have been violent. Like you told me, there was stealing and burning down houses.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are multiple company, like Target and multiple police stations actually got burned down too.
Yeah,
Um, I know Wendy's or something got burned down.
yeah, people just burning down whatever they can find, I guess, protesting. Just with a quick Google search of deaths from the riots, I don't see anything. It's just more news about the riots. So, as far as I know, there were no deaths in the riots, but a lot of property damage.
Yes, a lot, and you know, as like I said before, it is a big shame that George Floyd died. Feel really bad for. He'd had a family, right? I'm pretty sure I read.
Yeah, he did have a family.
Yeah, I feel bad for his family. Um, the situation shouldn't have happened at all.
Right.
I I think that the riots also should have never happened because, in my opinion, you can't fight violence with violence. It leads to more violence.
Yeah, it really does. And anyways, I'm personally not quite 100% sure why they're rioting, because I believe he did get charged with third-degree murder, but I assume they either want him to have a bigger sentence or they want the guards around them to also have a bigger sentence. From what I heard, I think they were fired and it's being debated on if something will happen to them. I don't
Hmm.
know if it has happened to them yet, but I, just heard it around on the news.
Hmm.
But yeah.
From from what I've heard, also that all the cops standing around the white cop that killed George were all non-whites. The
Were
only
they?
white cop, The only white cop was the one who actually was on George.
Were they all black specifically, or was there like Asian or something?
I know one of them was Asian. I think I heard that the other another cop was Hispanic. I'm not sure, but I know I've heard that they weren't. The only white cop there was the one that was on George. I think his name is Derek, the one that was on George.
That's interesting. But I wonder why he was on George. Have you seen like the video or heard about it? Because did he fight back against the cops or something?
No, not at all. There's actually a video out there right now that is circulating around the internet, specifically Instagram, um, where George was actually being compliant and not resisting at all. Like he wasn't like tugging or pulling. He's walking with two officers to the car, and that's when the camera suddenly changed to a phone perspective when he was on the ground when the cop was kneeling on him. So it looked like he wasn't resisting at all.
Yeah, I doubt he would resist from that. If he wasn't resisting, then I bet it was pretty good chance that he didn't know it was fake. Um, and I had a thought, but I lost it.
It's all right. Try to think about it while I, go on to my next point.
All right.
Um, like I said before, you can't fight violence with violence. Um, Also, I don't think this is what George Floyd would like at all. I don't think he would like people to suffer like he did, where people are losing their jobs, not being able to pay for their family's food now because they lost their jobs from the companies burning down. Um, Also, the point about how they're violent protests and they're, basically an act of terrorism.
Yeah, that is true. And they're burning down things that isn't affecting people that wanted George Floyd dead. I bet none of the people that they harmed in the fires or by stealing, I bet they are against how he died, but they're still getting punished. Like, and all the police officers, you said they burnt down some police buildings, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not good because we need the police to go around and make sure everybody's safe. Like if there's a robbery, then you need to go over there and get it done.
exactly, exactly.
So they're really not helping the situation. If anything, they're actually helping more people die.
hmm Um, Also, I saw that that a little girl was sprayed in the face with what was it?
Pepper spray?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't think of it. And I was actually talking about it with somebody, and they brought up a good point. Why in the hell are they bringing out kids and during this riot?
I know, it doesn't make any sense. Like the parents must be just forcing their kids to go out into the riot. I mean, these must be the people like with COVID-19 that like cuts a hole in the middle of the mask because it gets hard to breathe. Like you don't bring kids to something like that, especially if it's like a violent protest and they could get hurt. Because like if they're
Exactly.
burning stuff and people are getting hurt everywhere, the child could get hurt or even killed. Depends on how violent the protest is.
hmm
And I told you this earlier, but there was one point where there were rioters and police officers were trying to stop them. And then eventually a firecracker was thrown into the middle of the police officers and all of them had to back up. And then there was just a huge, smoke explosion. But I don't think any of them got hurt since there was someone recording on the phone and he said, "Is everyone all right?" But nobody was on the ground or trying to help somebody. So I think that nobody was injured, or if they were, it was very minor.
Right, right. Um, so what I also don't understand, um, is that people are going out during this virus, right? We're all supposed to
Hmm.
be in lockdown right now, and everyone's out, you know, protesting because someone got killed. I know that protesting is okay, but this is also during one of the world's biggest pandemics during in the last 50 years I heard or something like that, 100 years.
It was very long. I know there was a pandemic in 1920 actually. So 100 years ago. There might have been one after that, but I hadn't heard of that one. I
Hmm.
it would be even fun. They're all clumped up in groups with all the videos I've saw. Nobody is spread apart. They're all together. I mean, they could at least wear masks and try to stay away from one another, even though
Right.
probably be harder and they'd be spread out more. But they are committing a bunch of violent acts, and they're not only like burning things and stealing things, but they're also spreading the virus even more.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's really just not good what they're doing.
Hmm.
And
And
they're putting a bunch of innocent officers' lives in danger if one of them were to get hurt, or if like they set fire to a building that they thought was empty but somebody was actually in there, they could get injured.
hmm
Yeah, it's not good.
and now they're burning down not just jobs but also homes. So we also have to worry about hospitals getting burned down too now, and maybe like not maybe on purpose, but definitely um by accident. And if we don't have hospitals, no one can be actually treated correctly during this. So it's really hard for everybody nowadays.
Yeah. And depending on the person, there could be some protesters that will burn down a hospital. If they're burning down police stations and homes and workplaces, then they might come up with that idea because hospitals and police stations both help people out a lot and they save lives. But for some reason, the people are just burning everything down that will really help them. And maybe them themselves would get into danger, but they won't be able to get help because they burned down a police station.
Hmm.
Just sad sometimes about what humans do about some things. I mean, it still is a real shame that he died, and something definitely needs to be done with the cops. But some stuff is being happened. There is actions that are being taken to make sure that they get punished.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Um,
I saw. I also while I was watching the news about it, um, apparently he cried out for his mom, didn't he?
yeah,
Also, that
yeah,
that was sad. On the news, I actually did see. I think his mom was talking about it, and she looked torn up.
right.
It's
I
so
don't,
sad.
I didn't see that, but hearing it from you, I believe it. It's really horrible.
Yeah, it's just people. Sometimes the human race just isn't the best. I mean, I guess the protesters kind of mean good. They just they kind of want to get a vengeance in a sort of way, I guess, for it. But they're taking it way too far.
Right? Yeah, they are. They're basically terrorists. I mean,
I mean, yeah, basically.
you're having a big groups of people committing crimes across the U.S. now, not just in one place.
The exact definition of a terrorist is a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in pursuit of political aims.
Well, there
Well,
it is.
yeah, they
It's not
are burning
political,
down
but
like workplaces and homes, which is against civilians.
hmm and I guess it is. Not some. It's not political. Um, not towards politics, but definitely towards the government if it's a police officer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is kind of political if they want the government to do more about it, because they are doing something about it, but they still want more.
Yeah.
How much more? I don't really know. That's the one thing. I'm not sure if their actions are very justified, especially since they've been doing all this stuff. But I mean, I myself haven't heard what exactly they want. Have you?
Um, not really,
Yeah, I
but
just assume that it's more punishment.
yeah, yeah.
I bet if I wonder if we looked up a protest, since I haven't really specifically seen a protest with any signs or anything. It just showed me some of the violent stuff when I was looking on TV.
Hmm.
So I wonder if there is recording of a protest
Hmm.
that has like signs. I mean, I'm sure there's also peaceful protests around.
Right, right.
which those are fine. But
Right,
oh,
yeah.
this right here is actually a live video of protests.
Do you know, is there like a thumbnail? Oh, right here. Okay. Let's check this out.
Washington, D.C., Annesboro Park in New Jersey, New York City, and Los Angeles.
Let's check this out then.
They're cheering
Is it?
something.
I've seen a peaceful protest where they've chanted "I can't breathe" while they're laying on the ground.
I'm not sure what they're saying here, but the one guy has a sign that says, no. I think they're chanting "prosecute, kill the cops." I'm not quite sure though.
Yeah, mine won't load, but from what I'm hearing,
Yeah.
it's
And one of them has a sign that says like "no cops" or something. I think that's what it said. Yeah, one guy's holding a sign saying "I can't breathe," which I mean, from what I saw, he said it a lot, and his voice was really raspy. So I mean, it was clearly on purpose. Just to say that flat out, the cop clearly killed him on purpose.
yes, yeah. Also bringing up the cop. I think his name is Derek. He's also had past experience with brutality on different races.
Yeah.
And that didn't help his case at all, right? Those were dropped, but now that he killed somebody, that is, for no reason, that's not okay. That didn't drop at all.
I'm actually surprised he became a cop. I wonder if like part of the reason he became a cop so he could do something like that. I mean, I'm not sure if he intended to. Well, I found the full name of the cop. It was Derek Chauvin. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
So it was him, and I'm not quite sure where my thought was, but oh yeah, I do wonder if he went to police service to just like do something like that. I mean, he probably wasn't exactly thinking of killing at that moment. I assume he was, but I'm just wondering if he actually went in there because he wanted to become a police officer, or if it was just to have a better chance at getting away with that stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, going back to like the being on the ground situation, right? The cops just stood there. There were videos.
Yeah. No, I wonder why. I wonder if they talked. I mean, they couldn't have talked about before because I assume that they didn't know he was black. I assume the responder didn't exactly tell him that unless he was asked to describe him, then he would have known it and talked to them before. But yeah, it's interesting how the three of them didn't either. Do we know the name of them or no?
There was a mugshot of them, I think, but I'm not sure what their names were now.
Well, it is
Pretty sure the
interesting
Asian
how
one.
none of
Sorry.
them. It is interesting how none of them tried to stop him. I mean,
Right.
you think one of them would at least be a good person. They would have known that he couldn't breathe, especially after 2.5 minutes of not being responsive, and still keeping his knee on his neck.
Right.
They must have. I wonder if they were working together too. Maybe they worked together before, and they all had that same connection. Maybe.
Probably. I mean.
But the three of them probably just never wanted to actually kill him because they knew that they would get into a lot of trouble. But I guess that Derek just thought that he's a cop, so he can do whatever he wants. But that's not exactly how police officers do stuff.
Right. I mean, it's just crazy now.
Yeah, everything's getting too out of hand.
Overnight,
right now.
Minneapolis burned
And
again.
and
A
Minneapolis
fourth night of
was one of the
protest after the
fires.
death of George
Hmm.
Floyd, multiple
I'm
buildings
looking at
went
one
up
of
in
the
flames, and
videos
often
right
there
now.
was no police in sight. At
Do
times,
you
rioters ruled the streets.
do you know of any other locations that were
Right now,
burned?
multiple buildings
I
on this
knew
block are
that
on fire. The National Guard just
SWAT, um, I don't know what to call them, SWAT officers were throwing tear gas in Boston.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't sure where it was, but I have heard about tear gas and all that stuff just because people were getting too violent about it. You know, it kind of reminded me of the time when everyone was coming to the border and they tried to rush over me. I had to use tear gas then too.
Hmm.
Just I just remember that because I don't remember too many of this stuff happening other than those two moments. Do you?
Um, Not really. No, no, I don't remember.
Yeah. But too much is going on right now. The virus, they really shouldn't be out. I mean, more stores are opening up too. So that will probably help spread the virus faster. And like more people are wanting to go out and just like stop quarantining because they really don't want it. Everybody is just getting bored at home because like some people can still work because they're essential worker and they have to go. But I
Uh,
assume some people just have to sit at home and do nothing. And you know, some of those people might be like very poor. They might not have like they might even not have internet, but even if they do, like you're not going to be able to watch TV for the entire day. I mean, I assume they're not going to be able to afford a laptop to run a like some sort of big game like Ark
like
Survival or
Fortnite.
Rust and Fortnite. So,
You know what is funny though? I think it's hilarious about one of the riots.
what?
Not riots. One of the looting things, right? This I'm putting it.
I need to know more about the white guy that would change both global pandemic and racial protest to loot Legos.
This guy went to a Target and looted Legos.
So did like a group of protesters just run into a Target and like loot everything there?
Basically, they ran in, burned it down. There was smoke everywhere. They stole stuff, as you can see in the picture. They smashed open cash registers, stole money. They stole basically everything in there. They did things like that with Wendy's. They burned down a Wendy's. Um, I know they did that with. We saw the Target. I don't remember what else, what other big stores they did, but Target was one of them.
And another bad thing about this is some of these people probably aren't even protesters. They're just doing this for the free stuff. And they're just labeling it as protesting so they won't get in as much trouble. And with that huge group there, how are the police supposed to arrest that many people? They really can't. They can't get everybody's face at the same time. Like
Hmm.
it's just way too hard to be able to tell. It's just a real shame.
It is. No, I mean, I don't want to be that one person and be like, oh, but at least we can take away one funny thing about the riots and stuff. The guy stealing Legos.
Yes. Oh, I wonder why he would steal Legos.
I
Maybe,
mean, who wouldn't steal Legos?
yeah, even if he didn't have a kid. He doesn't look like 84, so I'm pretty sure he can build that.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
He'll build it in the meantime while in quarantine, you know? He was
Of
gonna
course. I
buy
mean,
it, but he heard about the protest, so he was like, hey, free stuff, I'll do it. Which I'm sure there were probably other people that just heard about it and were just gonna be like, hey, we're gonna get free stuff? Cool, I'm gonna go.
hmm.
And do you know how they burned it down? Did they get, like, lighter and gasoline, or?
I'm sure it was something simple like that, or like Molotovs or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, what are those buildings made out of? Are they made out of, I'm pretty sure they're made out of, brick, aren't they? Or at least part
Yeah,
of them?
yeah, but especially since the inside is also like the shelves and stuff are made out of plastic, like some of them, like
Yeah. And
and
the
then like
entire roof
cardboard.
is wood
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
cardboard. I don't know the exact material, but it's some sort of flammable material.
Hmm.
So do you know how many places were raided and set to fire, or no? Or they're
Ooh,
just
I think there was a lot. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at
Minneapolis
all.
stores set on fire? A lot of these are about Minneapolis, I notice.
Yeah, that's where all the riots started.
There's a police officer apparently that responded to the death of it I have a video right here. Do you want me to give it to you?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll probably let it play for them to hear through this. It's on
We can just
Bing, so I don't know how much that'll work for you.
yeah.
Tell me when you're about to play it, because I kind of want to play at the same time.
Yeah. Just whenever you're ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
He wasn't fighting. He wasn't resisting. He was asking for help.
It was disturbing to see other officers just stand there and watch what was going on.
That officer took someone's life.
An incident hundreds of miles away that has rippling effects.
Law enforcement here and throughout the nation, we have done a lot to build community policing. This one incident has set us all back.
National discourse around this has been is that it is a string of a larger issue with how the Black community is treated by police officers. As a Black police chief, how do we tackle this issue of mistrust and, in some cases, abuse between police officers and our African American community?
I think it starts what we keep doing, this dialogue, this conversation. We don't need an incident like this to happen to bring us to the table.
St. Pete police officer training includes meeting with community leaders of different backgrounds.
Everybody is biased. It's just, we all have our little bias. And it's to recognize that and understand when you're wearing this uniform that you're there to protect everyone, no matter who they are.
And safeguards once they're on the force.
So if you have 10 uses of every time you're arresting someone, you're using too much force, it triggers.
But both chiefs acknowledge that addressing police brutality is an ongoing battle.
But these type of incidents cause every chief to reflect on what is the relationship that they have with their community.
Every time we think this is not happening, it's happening. So something needs to be addressed.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, looks like that's it.
I
I noticed the first guy that was shown, he agreed with what you said earlier about using dialogue instead of violence.
Yeah, right.
So you're not alone in thinking that.
Right, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm glad.
I mean, I think it too. It is a lot better than, just getting people hurt and having lives lost.
Oh yeah, of course. Anybody can have a good debate on whether or not something should or shouldn't happen.
The only problem is some people aren't really open-minded, and even if you give the best argument there could be for your side of the point, they just won't listen to you, and they'll just keep going with their side, which really sucks. Because I feel like if everybody could actually see if they were wrong when, the right evidence presented to them, then the world would be a lot better of a place.
Of course. I mean, but now, no one's perfect, so we're always going to have that one guy that's like, hey, you're wrong, I'm right, and I'm going to show you how with violence.
Yeah. There's never going to be a time in our existence where there's no violence or wars, really.
Exactly.
There'll always be fights, no matter what.
We're this little situation is on the brink of another civil war or race war, and it's really scary right now.
It is. There's so many protests going on around. That live that we watched just showed 4 live happening right now. They didn't look very violent at the moment. It looked like it was a bunch of people walking in the streets, though one protest specifically was talking about killing police officers, I believe. If I heard it right, maybe I wasn't. But that might have turned to a violent protest. I'm sure that what we've heard of is not going to be the last of the protests. Pretty sure there's going to be many more. Until it all dies down and people may realize that they're not getting their way, unless if they do get their way. And the government decides to go with what they say and they punish them as the people wanted. Though violence, trying to get people to do what you want through violence isn't, very effective. I mean, if it's like, because that's just going to give them a worse view of you. If you're going to be violent and destroy their things, they're going to not like you. They're going to not want to do what you're. They're not going to want to do what you want because you're taking stuff from them. You're destroying stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
If anything,
And
I mean, the government is very powerful, a lot more powerful than any civilians. And if anything, they're going to try to go after you and stop you and put you in prison or something if they can. But I'm sure they can't do it with everyone, of course, because of how many people there really are.
right.
But who knows? You could be that one lucky person that they just so happen to spot out in the crowd that you just so happen to not have a mask on while you're doing
Right.
something illegal.
Right. Right. Going back to the crime aspect of it, it started off with black people, right? Doing the protests, and you already know that the crime statistic for black people were high up there. At least what 85-90% of African Americans committed crime here.
Yeah,
You
a
know,
lot of crimes are committed by blacks here.
look how much higher. Like just imagine how much higher that statistic went up.
I know, it must be a lot higher now with them doing it. I mean, I think whites have joined in. Do we
Yeah.
know if there's more blacks or whites protesting? I mean, automatically I would assume blacks since it's their own race.
Yeah, right. But I think it might be equal, but I'm not sure. I know a lot of white people, like, Caucasians, um, joined in because they believed that they think what they're doing is right. So I think it's white people joining in too now.
Yeah. And I mean, even if the crime rate is... Well, I said this to you before. I'm not quite sure what the context was. Do you remember?
For what? Sorry.
About, the crime rate. No, I forget. Never mind. You
Okay.
remember how I was talking about with the coin and 50-50?
Yes.
And now it's not going to be that. I forgot what the context for that was.
I can actually look right now. You said that we talked a lot about this podcast, so
Yeah.
and COVID-19 video game.
Oh, yes. We found a COVID-19 video game on Steam. Now
But that
was
is
interesting.
not our biggest concern right now.
Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about video games right now.
But maybe COVID-19, yes, but
Yeah. That'll be another time if we do another,
Yes.
which I assume we'll do another.
yes. Let's see. You said that if I can find it. Right here. You want me to read the entire text or just the coin flip part? Because you said more than that.
Well, that's what I said is what I was going to say, but I wasn't sure, what the context was for it.
Well,
Oh, we were talking
you
about
said-
stereotypes. That was the
oh,
topic.
okay.
Like, so, like, people are talking, like, the police stations and stuff because they thought because that one cop killed him, that, like, all cops now are all of a sudden bad, but they aren't. It's what people think. And, like we were saying, the crime rate for blacks is higher than whites, but, like, it's, it's never going to be 50-50. One's always going to be higher than the other. If you flip a coin 100 times, I bet you're not going to get 50 tails and 50 heads. It's going to be a very low chance for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even if you flip it twice, you might get heads 2 times or hit tails 2 times. Nothing is ever 50-50.
No, it's really bad.
What?
It's that while everything here is going on, I think that it's bad. No, I think it's a good thing, but at the same time, I think it's bad that we aren't doing anything about this virus, but other countries are.
Yeah, like many other countries are recovering, which I'm not quite sure the statistics of our recovery, but I'm sure it's not doing as good as it used to be.
Right.
Because especially with these large groups of protesters, because like I was looking at the live video, of course the viewer wouldn't be able to see it, but there was a lot of people in the groups, and even if you just look a protest up yourself, I'm sure you can find groups with like 100 people in it. And I mean, out of those people, one of them probably has COVID-19 and is going to spread it
Right.
to others.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's in very close proximity, and a lot of these are happening in like big cities too. So they even if they wanted to spread out, it's really hard to because it's the streets are there and the buildings are just in the way. You can't really spread out with that many people there.
Mm-hmm. Especially since, things are opening back up now. So when people travel now, I mean, not travel, but, people from the rioting countries maybe go to a store that is open now that, you know, spreading it to other people, even if they aren't protesting. They're still. It's because of the protesters that are grouping up and like that.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. I also saw that Jake Paul was caught looting out in I think he lives in like LA right now. I don't know. He got caught looting.
Do you know where?
Um, I gotta check, but I know he got caught looting. He by one of his fans or something.
Well, I mean,
Looting.
do you know if he's talked about the protest or if he wants to protest at all or if he literally just looted because one of the points I brought up was because he just wanted to steal something.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, he was. So it says that he was in. TMZ is saying that Jake Paul was in Arizona.
Yeah.
Fox News said that Jake Paul responds to it. Let me just watch it real quick. Says. Hold on. If I could, find when it says it. Maybe I'm just dumb. But, I don't know. It says that, okay, he was just out. I don't think he was looting. I think he was just out recording people. He captioned some of his videos saying, "America is in ruins, and what can we do?" But
So he was going near stores where people were looting and recording them looting?
yeah,
That's
he said
interesting.
he said this in a tweet. To be absolute. Hold on. If I could if my phone would work, I could read you the tweet. It says, "To be absolutely clear, neither I nor anyone in our group was engaged in any looting or vandalism. For context, we spent the day doing our part to peacefully protest one of the most horrific injustices our country has ever seen, which led us to be tear gassed for filming the events and brutality that were unfolding in Arizona." So he claims that he wasn't looting, but if he was, that's horrible. But he claims he wasn't. He was just filming protests and being in a protest himself, like a peaceful one.
Yeah. He could have been. He could have just been a peace protest. But, I don't know, did you say he got tear gassed?
Yeah, it said he said he got tear gassed while filming.
Oh, was he in a big group with a bunch of other people, I assume?
Might have. He didn't say, or maybe he did. I didn't read the entire tweet, but he said he got tear gas. So I'm not surprised if he wasn't, or was in a.
How I would say it, if he was peacefully protesting, I would assume that some people in the group that we was in wasn't, and that's why the whole group got tear gassed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I assume, but for all we know, he could have been protesting violently. I mean, people don't tell the truth nowadays.
Right, and it is Jake Paul.
Yeah, he doesn't exactly have the best reputation.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if his brother even did something too. He recorded a dead man.
Yeah, he's done a lot. It's been a wild ride for them.
Right.
Well, I can't quite think of anything else more to say, can you?
No, not at all. Just that if we end it right now, I want everybody to be safe. If you guys are in the writing countries, please take time to prepare yourself for, the virus and be careful if you're going out.
Please, even though things are still opening up, and they're allowing you to go there. Try to not go there as much as you can, because the virus is still out there. It's still spreading, and you really don't want to get it. It's going to hurt a lot of people if you do, because you can spread it to more people. And
Exactly.
don't join a violent protest. They don't get people anywhere. It only will cause more violence. With if the violent protesters are causing police to have to be violent with them, and it's all not a good situation.
Yeah,
Well,
of course.
I'm quite ready to end it. Are you?
Yeah, this is episode 1 done. We'll see you guys later.
Goodbye.